Two loose cannons back in operation this week. It's getting close to the end of the year now, just a couple of hours away. I'm Liam.
I'm Ross.
So happy New Year to all of our listeners, except for George Bailey.
Yep.
The selection panel.
Yep.
This is the Australian selection panel.
Yep.
The Strikers selection panel.
Yep.
And also Collingwood Football Club.
Yep.
Get stuffed.
And the Crows football.
Oh, no. Absolutely not. I cancel that out. That's why I didn't mention Port Adelaide. Anyone you want to pop?
Well, you know, that Melbourne test in general and the pitch and the curator, that's just all in one bundle, or you can take it as three separate things. Just a way, you know, that some of these organisations are going about it. It's just crazy.
What about, is it Nick Greenberg, the CEO of Cricket Australia? I mean, they lose money and they're reliant on a test match going more than 2 days.
They are, yeah.
You want to pot him too?
Yeah.
Nick Greenberg, get stuff.
See you later, mate.
Anyone else?
Don't have a good New Year, buddy. Well, you know, I mean, in general, the imports, what are the imports doing in the BBL this year? I mean, some of them have just been...
Is there any particular nation letting them down?
They tend to be from a subcontinent, and it tends to be the
green flag
team. Yeah, the team that starts with P.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that seems to be, you know, the team that seems to be the players that seem to be letting a lot of people down at the moment.
Now, we did a podcast that never made it to air.
That's the other thing I want to pop. The
YouTube.
YouTube for saying that we were both under 16 and not older. That's when we tried to tell them that we were over 16, and it took us what?
So when did we do that? We recorded, before, I think it was about 12th or 13th of December.
It was the week before the BBL started, Sunday. We did it on the Friday and the BBL started on the Sunday. So, yeah.
So anyone who knows how, or does YouTube or has uploaded a video to YouTube, they'll know that it goes through a processing thing before it actually goes online. So it checks and flags things. And we've been flagged for copyright before. Yeah. But never been flagged for age verification. And so we only got, I actually appealed to the rejection and only got it back 23rd of December. So by that stage, you know, the BBL is well underway. You know, there's been several rounds played. Yeah. But, oh my God, so many nuggets of gold. And, you know, maybe in the next show, what I'll do is I'll cut up some of that footage and put it up and it'll make us look geniuses. But believe me, that was recorded back then. And one of the things that we both mentioned was, I think I said Shaheen Sharafridi won't live up to the number one pick tag. I didn't expect him to be going. I mean, supposedly he has an injury. But I also think mentality-wise, I think he's checked out.
He's checked out. He's finding it tough.
Yeah. It's not exactly what he thought it was.
No, he is finding it tough here.
And the other one that we sort of potted was Baba Azam.
Yeah.
Look, his go slow 50 the other day that was raved about. That's just commentary sort of praising up, making something happen. I actually think that, you know, it was at the detriment of the Sixers.
It was more like an ODI 50 than a 2020 50. Yeah.
And I think in this league, that's what he's capable of. I mean, at international level, he's not all that quick at scoring either.
Mm.
I think there is still a role for those anchor players to play, but not that slow.
Yeah.
And not looking comfortable at all.
Yeah, and not when you're paying big bucks too.
Yeah.
So, you know, you don't mind paying that for someone like a Steve Smith because you know he can anchor an end, plus he can take it on. You know, as I agree with you about Bubba, he just seems like that's all he can do is just, he only picks the bad balls.
Yeah.
And, you can't do that in 2020. No, you need to go for it.
So since, I'll break the rundown a little bit. We were going to open up with the test, but since we're talking about BPL, it just makes sense to continue on here.
Yeah.
So what concerns me is, and this is a broader issue, so I'm going to bring in another topic that we'll get to a little bit after. Financially, Cricket Australia is in the... it's not just the fact that a 2-day test is costing them 13 million or 26 million, and the Perth test is also costing, 13 million because that finished up early. This is a residual effect of them absolutely screwing up the Indian series and not making a single dime, actually losing money on the Indian series.
Yeah.
Now, last year produced record crowds, produced record viewership in Australia. produced record viewership in India. Now, some of those rights deals were already locked away. But the foresight is, if you're going to be selling the broadcast deal, I'm selling the Indian series, I'm selling the England series, and I'm also forecasting growth. The Indian population in Australia is growing by the day. Why have they lost money? And it's forcing them now to do future plans. And what it's going to do is it's going to completely bring in foreign ownership, particularly from India. So you're going to have in the BBL very soon the Melbourne Indians running around, the Adelaide Sunrisers, the Perth Super Kings, and it's happened over in England. In I think it's the 100 competition. What is it? The Surrey Indians are running around. Somerset Indians. That cannot happen here. Maybe they're more accepting over in England because there's a much larger subcontinent population there already.
By far,
but over here, the sentiment towards the IPL is very, very poor. And our Indian population, are growing. But I looked around. I went to the Adelaide Strikers game on the 23rd of December. There wasn't a lot of Indian people going. There was a couple. It was a lot of Caucasian young families there. And that's where the game's going to grow. Now, for me, I'm not paying a single red cent if there's an Indian owner that has taken over Adelaide Strikers and changed them to Adelaide Sunrisers or whatever the hell it's going to be. My son would like to go. He loves Big Bash, loves the Adelaide Strikers. I'll lose interest. Which means, unfortunately, he's not going to be able to go. And, the money rolling through the gates that Cricket Australia would benefit from won't be there.
Well, it's interesting you say that there wasn't a lot of national Indians there at the game. Maybe that's what they're seeing. Maybe they're seeing across the board that the Indian people who are living here aren't attending the BBL, and therefore they need a connection. So if they get a connection with an IPL team, so the Sunrisers, the Indians, whatever you want it should be, perhaps they think that might bring them through the gates. And then, of course, we're cricket mad here anyway, and we would go to the BBL regardless of what the team's called.
No, I won't.
You won't be. I understand that. And you know what? I'd still, because it's an Adelaide team, I'd still take a glancing, but I probably wouldn't take as big an interest.
No.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. What's in the name, basically.
Yeah.
But we are passionate about our teams. And if you said to me that tomorrow they're going to change the Port Adelaide Power to the Port Adelaide Crows, I'd chuck my membership away. And I'm sure a lot of Crows members would chuck their memberships away and go, we're walking away.
Or use the
it is interesting.
City model in the A-League. I don't think it's helped with their supporter base. Because I'm a Manchester United fan. If Melbourne City acquired Adelaide, I'm reconsidering whether I support Adelaide anymore because your money is going off and supporting the City Group. And so to me, it has nothing to do with ethnicity here. It's about, I look at the IPL as a product. I look at their teams. I don't like it. I even watched. Did you see that IPL documentary on Netflix? I watched some of that.
No, I didn't.
I don't like it. I just don't like how it is. I don't like the feel. And naturally, the competition, I like the way it's set up. It's, the whole idea of
cutthroat, isn't it?
Yeah, it's cutthroat, but there's almost like a cartoonish vibe to the Big Bash. The colors, the teams.
The IPL, you mean, or the Big Bash?
No, the Big Bash. Okay. Some of that will be eroded by naming teams the Adelaide Indians or Adelaide Sunrisers or Super Kings. That whole vibe that they've set up around the Big Bash, where it's the same sort of uniforms but just different color tops. They were very careful how they set up, and so it's got its own branding. Some of that branding is gone because you're introducing different teams, and then they're going to change the uniforms. They can change this, can change that. It's sort of, the competition then becomes completely different. And to me, the Big Bash has been successful. England, when they're talking about setting up the 100, they weren't looking at the IPL. They were looking at the Big Bash. And what can we do to give the 100 their best setups, because their T20 competition doesn't work that well there. So they did the same in the sense that they gave different names, different uniforms. to the teams, but they were careful about how they did it. So, teams have the same colors and this and that.
So how would you feel if I said to you, they're gonna leave the strikers' name, but it'll be the super strikers or the king strikers,
that
Indian
starts to get a
strikers.
bit stupid, doesn't it? Yeah.
Okay, so
I
you
can't
would be
think so.
no part of that at all.
No.
If they aligned it with an Indian IPL team, but added the first or the last.
So what happens then? Do we become a feeder team for young Indian talent?
Of course,
Of
course, I do. Of course.
Then, so I then feel uncomfortable because are we necessarily getting the best players in to watch?
But hasn't Australian cricket traditionally been a feeder anyway? We've had players come over, a lot of players from England, all around the world, who've come here and played in grade or played in state cricket. Used to happen more in my time back in the 80s than that. You used to see big names. Yeah. But now you do see the guys who are trying to make their way through and are not succeeding in whatever country they are. And they come over here and they do play a lot of great cricket.
Yeah.
Like, I was shocked to find out there's about 200 international players playing great cricket in Australia.
Yep.
I never would have picked that at all.
It's not documented. And unless you really followed overseas and the names, like, you pick up the Sunday Mail on the weekend and you can see names and you go, oh, is that such and such from England?
That's right. Yeah.
You wouldn't know.
That's
unless you've attended and played. So it doesn't get a headline. Joe Root came over. Remember when the Darren Lehman cricket academy was up?
Yep.
Brought him over. He played for Prospect. No one would have known that.
And they were saying when he was here, that's what made me, I thought, wow, Root was here. He played for Prospects. That's what made me actually look into it. And then I found out there's over 200 players currently playing, international players currently playing grade cricket around Australia.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, wow, if you had said 10 or 15, I would have gone, over 200. That's amazing to me.
There was that story about Mark Wood. He come out and played, and they dropped him down to when he first started. I think because he missed a training session or something, or was sick, or they dropped him down to Division 6 or something. Could you imagine coming up against 150 kilometers an hour in Division 6? Jeez, yeah. And they made him earn his way back up.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's good in a way because it also exposes talent that aren't quite at state level against quality.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if it's ever helped those players because let's face it, most of the players that come over and had success in Australia, like Virat Kohli, he didn't play for great here. Root never has 100.
And that was this year.
Yeah, and the rest of his series is garbage, so it hasn't really helped him.
Yeah, it's interesting though.
So that's the future of the IPL, and it looks like with Cricket Australia's financial losses that private ownership is going to come in much sooner than anyone had planned for.
Yeah.
So you can understand why Cricket Australia and Nico Greenberg, whatever his name is not getting a Happy New Year.
Well, yeah.
So, the Test match was poor.
Was absolutely poor.
So, how much of that can be blamed on the pitch? How much of that can lie at the selectors' feet, and how much can that lie at the faceless people of Cricket Australia? So when I'm talking faceless, the coaches. Yeah.
Look, I think to me it was 50% pitch, 50%. Sorry, not 50%. Probably 20% selection, and then just circumstance. England just outplayed Australia, I thought, for most of that. For probably not most of it, for probably the second innings. Absolutely. What Jai Richardson was doing, like, you've got Steve Smith at the other end, mate. Just put it around the corner, try to get a single, try to hit boundaries and try to hit sixes. That's not your job, buddy. Your job was just to give the strike to Steve Smith. So some of that is, and we absolutely bagged the Poms for some of their shot selection. Now you can say, oh, he's an 11. That's even worse, because as an 11, you shouldn't be playing shots like that. You should be just trying to either just block them or, like I say, just put it somewhere for a single.
Yeah, I can understand him playing that shot. There was number 10.
That's it. Exactly. If he was batting with, exactly.
And the runs were absolute premium on that pitch. So you need to squeeze out as much. And of course, it ended up being short, much short.
But it doesn't matter. If they scored another 20, 30, 40, I still don't think. I mean, you're talking about a 2-day test. It's not like it was well into the last day and England needed the second to last over to win it. I mean, they had all the time in the world, England, to win that. So how much of that is the toss? If Australia had won the toss and put England in, and it had been the other way around and we batted fourth,
Yeah.
Do they win the test? That's,
They do.
So that tells me the pitch has a lot to say in the circumstance of that. Melbourne Test traditionally, then 3 of the last 4 tests have been rated poor. They were almost going to lose it last year. If they got a rating of 4, they were going to lose the Boxing Day test. Somehow they managed to get a pass, which is bullshit. It wasn't a pass wicket last year. And this is going to upset a lot of you Victorians. Cry it up, you babies. You don't deserve the Boxing Day test. You don't. It's a shit place to play cricket.
Yeah.
Okay? It's terrible. The pitch is terrible. The crowds are the only thing that you get in the game. That's it. The atmosphere and the crowds. But as a test, it's rubbish.
Yeah.
Absolutely rubbish. And this is supposed to be the highlight of the year. You haven't lived up to it. You haven't lived up to it for 50 years. Go back to the 80s. Some of those pitches they produced in the 80s were death traps. Serious death traps. Guys were getting their heads knocked off. There was a couple of tests that were going to call off. The pitch was that bad. So don't think this is something new. This isn't something recent because of drop-ins. Go have a look. 80s and 90s. Those pitches were terrible. Absolutely terrible. And they haven't improved. So what do you do about it? You leave it. Because it's the showcase of the year. It brings in 100,000 on the first day. It brings in probably 80,000 for second and third and fourth. And should it go fifth, it probably brings in 60,000. It's your biggest test of the year because if it goes 5 days, you're probably got an aggregate of over 500,000 people coming through the gates.
Hypothetically speaking, how do you think it would be attended if they switched? So look, we all know the Adelaide test will sell out, but let's say they had the Christmas test. How well do you think that would be attended? Day one, I'd imagine. So MCG,
Christmas.
Now, imagine day one would be a good crowd. But after that,
I think they'd show up.
Do you think
because they'll show up for cricket. Melbourne public love their sport. That's the one thing you can't knock Melbourne or the Victorian people. They love their sport. And when they say it's
their sport, but I also think they're also overrated in terms of their attendance. There's a lot of people.
If you pack it out, mate, you pack it out, and they can't be overrated. Like, what did we get in Adelaide? They said we got for 5 days. We over 200,000. They get that in 3 days. If it goes 3 days, they've already got that. And if it goes for 5, then they're pushing 300, 350.
But if you had that concrete bowl here, do you think we also get those numbers?
No, because it doesn't hold the capacity of what the MCG.
No. But if we had their stadium here, say.
If we had the stadium,
I think because per capita, nobody attends sports better than South Australia.
Yeah, per capita. Yeah. But look, ideally, you'd love to see it work because the way I like Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney. All right, it works that way, and plus, you probably find if you flipped it, it might be too hot here and it might be raining over there.
Yeah.
So it always seems to work really nice, but you can't have these pitches. You just can't.
So have you seen the weather for SCG? It's rain on 2 days.
Yeah. But that doesn't surprise.
But anyway, yeah. Look,
but that could be wrapped up in 3. It could be wrapped up in 2.5.
Yeah.
And it could actually be a 5-day test because of 2 days of rain.
So I reckon you've got a bit hard on the pitch. And not hard enough on selection.
Everybody else,
and not hard enough on the batting coach.
But everybody else has said that was this isn't my words. You read every article about it.
Yeah,
everybody said that.
Don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. What did you see?
It was a poor pitch.
What did you see?
It was a poor pitch.
What I saw was batsmen not playing within the V. Classic technical situation where if the pitch is moving off the seam, what do you do? Yeah. Do you play with a bat across the line?
No, you don't.
So many dismissals I saw. Players playing across the line, leading edges, caught in bowls.
Yeah.
Catches and slips.
So you think it's Stupinudos? Is that what you say? Look, you think it's Stupinudos? Because we spoke about this before we went on. All right. Now, Travis Head, you don't want to change his game. All right. The last time they messed with his game, that was under Langer, and
he's actually played straight. You watch his innings.
I understand that.
And as much as aggressive he is, he still played straight. And it was a good bowl that took him out in the first innings.
Yeah. Now, I don't think he should be in that team for Sydney now. I think Khawaja's done enough to go back up top. And I think now you could, I don't know, bring in Bo Webster from for Green, or you could leave the Green there. I don't know what you do with Green, to be honest with you. But anyway, so I'll go Khawaja up the top. Now, Khawaja that's it. Sydney's, he's gone. So whether or not they decide we need to stick with Weatherall, or they decide to bring someone else in, a Renshaw, I don't know. look, it's just so muddy, this opening position. And Travis Head shouldn't even be opening, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Right? But it is what it is.
Well, his comments about what happens beyond the series. I don't know if you heard him speak after the Melbourne test.
That's right, and it is. That's true.
He says, I'm an opener until the end of the series.
Until the end of the series.
They'll sit down, look, I'm not locked in. So before, it felt like he said, yeah, I'm going to be opener, I'm going to be opener. But that's sort of shifting.
Yeah.
So I think even he knows that his best position is number 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And then, we've got to find a solution to the openers. And there are, you've named Renshaw, there are alternatives out there. They waited too long. Bancroft was in super form. They could have got him back in. I don't know. He just feels like he's still paying for the whole sample.
Well, someone has to, and I guess he's the one in the end and he was probably the support. He was the subordinate of the whole lot.
So, and that's bullshit. Being a junior player.
Yeah, Richard.
Old mate Warner should.
I agree with you. Well, he did, and let's just face it, all three of them paid for it.
Yeah.
Warner still got that ban for so long where he couldn't be captain. They seemed to relent on the Smith thing because they needed him as captain instead of sticking with it and saying, no, this is our ruling.
And again, they didn't need to do that because Travis Head.
They absolutely didn't need to do it. And the thing that got me the most was that the ICC was going to give them a 1-game ban.
Yeah.
1 game for what they did. So how insignificant was Sandpaper if your governing world body is thinking, well, that's 1 game.
But that just
and then the Australian board comes out and goes, no, that's 12 months.
That just goes to show you just how shit the ICC are.
It is. That's right. You're spot on. But the other thing is they know almost everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
Almost every single team in the world is fiddling with the ball.
There is.
So they know if they go hard at Australia and say, well, there's 12 months, they have to go hard at India, they have to go hard at England, they have to go hard. You name it, mate. They're all fiddling with the ball. There's no doubt about it. And that's why it was only 1 game.
But the ICC is just an absolute shit organisation because, throughout this series, Snicko, the problems with Snicko.
Well, that's...
Now, it should not be up to a broadcaster to pay for that.
That's right.
It shouldn't even be up to the a governing body.
Yeah.
So Cricket Australia shouldn't have to pay for it. ICC, what are they there for?
Well, they're there for the Indians so they can get a stronghold over the game and make sure that it runs the way they want and make sure that if they slip it up and if their players are being racist or their players, that Chaka Bumrah could stay in the game because he's throwing every single ball he seems to bowl these days. And no one gives a shit.
Yeah.
They go hard at Murali, but no one gives a shit because he's Indian. That's the only reason. And that's why the ICC is where it is. To protect these players and make sure that there's no accountability.
And here's the thing, Indians could get so much super more rich if the game was in a proper controlled state where, there's foresight, this whole World Test Championship. I thought it was a great idea when it was come to play because it gave Test matches some more significance other than a stupid trophy at the end of each series. Because let's face it, their ranking system is absolute shit.
Yeah.
The best batsmen, don't sit at the top. The best bowlers don't even sit at the top. The best test playing match doesn't sit at the top. So you've got problems there. So that could have potentially been a brilliant format. And yet, again, it's still so significantly poor.
Yeah.
There's just no other word for it. It could have been done a lot better. I mean, nobody seems to understand how it's played out. Each team plays an unlevel amount of games, how it's weighted. Then you've got, points docked for slow overrates. Nobody understands that.
That's right. But at the end of the day, it has to be, you have to have a rating system where because you can't be playing Bangladesh and Sri Lanka and West Indies and Zimbabwe and scoring the same amount of points you do when you play England or India or, New Zealand or South Africa.
Yeah.
So there has to be some sort of system that says, okay, well, you beat a higher ranked team, you're only going to get so many points.
Yeah.
You beat a lower ranked team, you're only going to get so many.
So I thought naturally what was going to happen was test matches would then each series would all be aligned in terms of, okay, so the Ashes will stay a 5-match series, but the first 3 tests would be your that would be well known in advance that those 3 tests at the front, the World Test Championship deciding games, every series would be 3 matches. Okay. So that would solve that problem. So even if you wanted to have India over, first 3 test matches would be your World Test Championship, and then you still play 2 test matches, and that would be for that series alone.
Okay, I'm with you.
So then
Yeah.
it would be even right across the thing, right across the journey. You know, obviously you can't play home and away test series because by the time that's done, we're talking, you know, maybe 7 years to complete.
Yeah.
So, but it would be leveled out in terms of, okay, well, you might play India away, and that would be your World Test Championship,
Yeah.
depending on the rankings. So, like at the time that it's being the fixtures are being drawn up, okay, so that would be your seedings.
Yeah.
So if you were say second, you'd play India maybe away, and then you played the third team at home. You know, India would then go away to the third team, and like I don't know.
I know what they're saying. So has it come to a time where we need to? Because what do we got? 10? Is it 10 test nations? All right. I think it's 10.
I think it's 10 now.
So is it time to go 5 and 5 and relegation?
Well, yeah.
So we've got Australia, England, India, South Africa, and probably New Zealand.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see any problem even if you went to because there are a couple of test playing nations. ICC, I'll call them ICC delegate to nations. The one that's not, they don't have test status.
Yeah.
But they're getting close to test status. Why not just bump them up, right? And then you have 3 divisions, 4, 4, 4, and then you can do the home and away series.
Yeah, I was going to say, even with 5 teams, you could do the home and away. Because we would travel, whether it's we go to New Zealand, they come here, let's tick that off. All right, you do the Ashes virtually every 18 months. 18 months and then 2.5 years because of the winter, summer conditions. So we'll find ourselves in 18 months in England playing the Ashes series.
See, I think what the big 3 worry about is what if like one of us are out of that and say in the second division, you're going to lose those series that make you money. But I think it's got to the stage now, if Cricket Australia can't make money from an Indian series,
if that's it,
then
if you're Australia or England or India and you're out of that first tier, then there's something wrong with your system. It's got nothing to do with all right, you're playing poor cricket. It's as simple as that.
And it should, that sort of system should hopefully then drive the nations that aren't quite there to lift their status and drive for that first division.
Yeah.
Because as it is at the moment, it just all means nothing really.
Yeah. Well, see, I mean, and I guess the biggest fear would be if Sri Lanka or a West Indies, Sri Lanka, Zimbabwe, Pakistan, whoever it might be, and say a New Zealand drops out, goes to the second division. If we've got 5 and 5, and I don't know, pick one, Sri Lanka comes up, then it would just be constantly New Zealand and Zimbabwe. Oh, sorry, New Zealand and Sri Lanka swapping first division, second division, first division. Because the other teams, it might be an occasional West Indies or it might be occasional, but those teams will just keep swapping, and then the other teams below it wouldn't even really have the chance to get to the first division. And even if they did, they'd still drop.
But I mean, that's the way the Premier League works, isn't it? And you look at some of the teams that never get out of second division or first division. So it is what it is. Now, whether or not you might get a board that eventually comes in that goes, look, let's really throw our money, resources in and try to get that first division because we can make money playing against the bigger nations. So, that incentive is there. But at the moment, it just feels like you look at the World Test Championship anyway, and there's really only 4 teams that you'd consider that's going to play in it. I think England's off. So they're done, so I'm not going to talk about them. But you've got New Zealand, South Africa, India, and Australia. So it feels like anyway that's happening. But we've still got to go through the formalities of playing Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pakistan again next summer. Look, and I hope the West Indies get better because, I mean, saw some improvements when they played here and
They've gone backwards since they played the series here. I've been watching it. They've gone backwards. And the reason is, and we touched on this whenever one of our last podcasts, the reason for West Indian cricket going backwards is because the board takes more money than the players. They pump up the board, the West Indian board and the officials take way bigger salaries than the players themselves. And the players are that's why no one wants to play the game over there because it's not worth it. You might as well go to the US and go to collegiate basketball or something else because you're not making money playing cricket because the board just takes all the money. The salaries are so much bigger. And when your executives and your officials are getting more money than the players, it's you've got a huge problem. And they've been fighting that. They've gone on strike so many times because of those reasons.
Yeah.
That's why the Gales and that have gone to 2020 and just moved away from playing tests. Have said, nah, forget about it. We'll just go hunting $1 around the world playing 2020. So, and that's the other thing. 2020 has killed the game over there because most of these guys just want to go big all the time. It's a quick game. They don't want to be standing out in the sun. Most of these games are played at night,
And look, I actually don't mind that. You're going to have some countries that are going to focus on T20. And if West Indies happens to be that, then that's great. But we also want to see if that's what they're going to do, then you still want to see them competing, in the top 4.
Yeah. So the problem is the board then becomes petty and says, well, you didn't want to play test cricket.
Yeah.
You're out of all our national sides now. We don't even want to know about you. So it becomes a power game. You pay for us as a national team, or you don't play. We don't pick you. So some of the best players around the world that are playing in England and, Canada, for goodness sake, West Indian players in Canada who are good enough to probably make that 2020 side, but because the board's gone, no.
Yeah.
You haven't played national. We wanted you for the test side. You said no. So you're not going to play any national representation. So that's it.
Yeah.
So, it's politics. It's the one thing that destroys all sports, as we know.
Yeah. And look, at the end of the day, the way, and again, because it all comes to the ICC, the head of the body. If people are playing cricket, that's all that matters.
Yeah, of course.
Because at the end of the day, it's still the same game. Okay, it's a different format, but, the next generation is more likely going to be more drawn to T20 cricket. And then hopefully at some stage, West Indies will produce a generation of kids that want to test themselves in the long format, because everyone, that Shamar Joseph, after he got man of the match in Brisbane, said that, I want to test myself in the longest form of the game. So you're going to have that.
Yeah.
So hopefully.
But is there enough though? You can have the odd one here and there, but is there going to be enough to form a team that's going to be competitive for year?
Well, see, you might not see it now, but a win like that in Brisbane can inspire kids, 10, 15 years from now, that will remember that win in Australia and want to be part of that, but not just a win, a series win.
But then does the board take the taste out of your mouth? Do you then get there?
Yeah.
And these people are
deflated.
That's it, become deflated and think, hang on, I'm here to play cricket, and you're making all about politics. So, these are the unknowns of what we see, but we just know that it's happening.
Yeah, corruption's almost at its worst in cricket, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because you could almost do any, and we know that. A no ball on the third ball of your second over, and we know how corruptible it is.
Yeah.
And some of these guys aren't making big dollars, will do it, and we know they do it because there's history of it happening. So it's terrible. So let's head to the coaching team and who gets a pass and who fails. So who do you like? Okay,
Yeah.
so go from the top.
Well, you'd obviously give Andrew McDonald a tick. The players seem to be happy with him.
Agree.
And this is where I think, because you look at what's happening in the Australian team, and you'd give a tick to the bowlers, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
the bowlers,
definitely.
Doesn't matter the personnel that are in, they're getting the job done.
Yeah.
On the other hand, the batsmen seem to be failing and seem to be repeat failures. And so we sort of touched on Divinudo, and we did have that conversation off air, and I seem to lay a lot of blame at his feet, simply because the same mistakes are being made. And part of the batting coach's job is you can't build a player at that stage. What you can do is help them with fine tune.
Yeah.
Because players that get to that level, they're good enough.
Yeah.
The technique's there. There's little trigger movements. There's little, maybe it's, where they're holding the bat. There was I think it was in the last test, they were doing a side-by-side of, Smith and Marnus, and what it looks like when they're scoring runs and what it looks like when they're not. And it's just a simple change in where they're holding the bat. Maybe it's a little bit off to the side, and then they draw it when they're in good form. It's sort of behind them.
Yeah.
So just that angled bat start and the ball coming through rather than, coming from an angle across. So that's Divinudo's job. Matthew Hayden was on talking about, and he mentioned the Chennai test a couple of years ago, how the ball wasn't even spinning, but they all seemed to have this game plan of, we're going to sweep every ball, and it got them in trouble because with the ball not spinning and the ball going straight, missing the sweep, LBW.
Yeah.
So he put that on Di Venuto. And that's fair enough because, you know, you're not giving the players the tools to do the job out in the square. At the end of the day, you've got to help the players be ready for all different scenarios because I don't know about you, but every time they see you see them do a pitch analysis at the start, generally they don't freaking know what the pitch is going to do.
No.
So how the hell do coaches know? And so that there is a failing on the coaching because you've gone out there and you gave them a plan and it's completely backfired rather than giving the players the tools to let them get out there and do their job.
Yeah.
That's all he's there for. So yeah, big cross for Di Venuto.
All right.
So yeah, tick for Andrew McDonald, tick for the bowling coach, and cross for Di Venuto. Is that where you're sitting?
Well, I'm sort of lenient. Well, I'm not more lenient. I think we're looking at a case where winning fixes everything. And because they have been winning, they've been resident. They just seem to think that whether they think everything's going fine and we don't have to worry about it, or whether they're ignoring, like you said, the small little fixes, you know, or is he going to the players and say, this is what we're seeing. If you just brought it, like you said, instead of hanging your bat out, bring it closer to your body and grab, behind your leg or whatever. So is he saying that? And then we're getting Smith and Head and Marnus and, all these blokes saying, no, I'll bat the way I want to bat, because I've got Andrew McDonald's backing just to go for it, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So, look, as far as selection, Bailey's just getting this. So I'd lay a lot of the blame at Bailey's.
Yeah, fair enough. I would too.
Now we know they got their favourites and they stuck with Marnus when he was totally out of form. And you said to me before we started the podcast, did they fix Marnus or did Marnus fix himself by taking the break? I tend to think I'm with you. He fixed himself by taking the break. So he got out there and then all of a sudden he starts scoring runs at the Shield level, gets out there. He scored a few runs in the Test arena. He hasn't said it a lot, but he's doing it right. He's not the worst batsman by far.
No.
So
do you think he's starting to fall back? Because I think it's a mindset issue.
I think
and we said it this, before we come on air. He knows he's up against international bowlers and they don't err. Shield bowlers, you might get that odd bowl once and over where you can just have that for. He's not getting that.
He was though. The first 2 tests he was because the English bowlers were so erratic.
But he doesn't look. The intent's not there. It doesn't feel like he's looking to score. And so from an opposition standpoint, bowlers would love to bowl to him because they can just know they're going to get 6 bowls at him, and he's not really going to hurt them.
Yeah.
So they can dictate their bowling plans.
Yeah.
And they can bowl the on shift bowler. No, they're not going to get hurt.
Yeah, I agree with you. The last innings of the Adelaide Test and maybe both innings this Test, he looks like he's gone back to the Marnus who was playing.
Yep.
So I don't know whether that's a like you said, it's a tightening up of the bowling, or whether they're bowling, they've got a plan to him, and therefore in that first 2.5, the first 5 innings where they bowled to him.
So it's
not just all over the place.
It's not just Marnus, What the hell's going on with Cam Green?
Yeah, Cam Green, he looks like a bloke who's just lost all confidence.
Yeah.
Injuries have got him. I don't know if he's playing sore. You can see him, occasionally you see him limping around. Big unit too, so let's not forget that. This isn't a guy who's a 5'10" or 6'1". This is a big unit. So, it takes a toll on your body. He looks like a bloke who, should have been rested before Adelaide.
Yeah.
They gave him the chance in Adelaide. He shouldn't have been playing the Boxing Day Test. No way.
So I reckon the perfect scenario for him is get dropped, go back to the Big Bash, freedom.
Yeah.
Because it's freedom.
Yeah.
It's T20, you just see the ball, hit the ball.
Yep. That's
and away you go, and who knows what happens from there.
Yeah, I agree with you. So what has Bo Webster done? We've brought this up so many times. What has Bo Webster done not to be in that side?
He's just rotting.
He's just sitting back waiting. And whether they think Cam Green's the great white hope, I have no idea what's going on here.
Bo Webster's age probably comes into it a bit as well. And they look at Webster's age, they look at
Green. But Green's your future. I guarantee you that you're absolutely spot on.
But all they're doing,
pick a team now. Don't pick a team for 10 years now.
They're also hurting Green's future by sustaining him in poor form.
especially if he's injured.
Some of the best players have been dropped, gone away, found it, come back. Steve Waugh.
Yeah.
Perfect example.
Yeah. And Green will find it again.
Yeah.
He's a talent. There's no doubt Green is a talent.
Yeah.
He'll find it again. But now the best thing you can do for him is to say, okay, mate, you need to go back. Big Bash, whatever. Shield. Doesn't really matter. Just go back and just enjoy your cricket again. And then when we tour, South Africa next?
Yeah, I think that's coming up.
Yeah, it's coming up. I think we play Bangladesh or someone on the way through, and then we go to South Africa, something like that. We'll pick you for that series, and then we'll see how you go. But
the worst thing that could have happened was in getting that freaking record deal in the IPL, because that's just more pressure for him. More pressure.
Yeah, I agree with you.
He knows that it's not only now Australia watching him. Yeah. You've got Indians and his franchise and everyone watching.
How do you get that when your current form is showing you to be just
potential? Everyone can see that potential, but we say it all the time with AFL. You're paying for potential.
Yeah, you know. But anyway, more power to him. So don't begrudge him the cash.
Before we absolutely put a line through cricket, we've just touched on selection. I want to bounce back to Big Bash for a minute, because team selection is topical for Adelaide Strikers. I think that they've absolutely cooked a good side.
Yeah, they have. Their selection's poor. I don't know why you're going in with 7-8
bowling options.
Bowling options. It's just, you don't need it.
Only 3 specialist batsmen. And in the last match, they dropped one more batter to bring in another freaking half freaking bits and piece player.
Yeah, I don't know who's selecting that team, but it's not good.
Yeah. And it's only going to get worse because Travis Head today
said no.
He's emotionally wrecked.
Emotionally.
So he's going to probably sit out the Big Bash after playing 11 days of Ashes
emotionally
cricket. And he said that after a 2-day test, not even a full 2 days.
I'm thinking he did 2 days of cricket and he did 3 days of drinking.
And look, we didn't touch on it because it's excuses, but we can, as people who sit on the sidelines, sort of say, well, how much have they just checked out the Australians?
They have the check. Well, it looks like it. Yeah. But, in this era, and we touched on it earlier, in this era of the World Test Championship, every win is points. So you can't check out anymore. It's not like the old days where you win the series and there was a dead rubber. It's a dead rubber. It's not anymore. So they need to stay engaged.
But even McDonald's comments about how, we've won the Ashes.
That's great. Of course,
the last two are just even Pat Cummins saying, I'm not playing a test match for the rest of the summer. It just all smacks like they've checked out.
You know what? If that's the case, then give some of these guys a rest.
Yeah.
All right. Send him back to the BBL and let him have a smash. Let him have a shits and giggles, as we used to call it back in the day. And let's flood some talent. If that's the case, let's just do it.
I'll tell you something though before we close up cricket.
Yeah.
Adelaide Crows ambassador Alex Carey will front up for the Adelaide Strikers. I can pretty much guarantee that he will. He's the sort of bloke that won't let you down. He doesn't let the state down. Yeah. That's the sort of bloke we want representing the Adelaide Crows.
Poor Nielsen, who's been there all year, needs to sit his butt down.
Poor Nielsen needs to sit down. Did you not see his finger the other night?
Greedy guts Carey can come in and earn some money.
The poor bloke is hanging to be dropped.
Kidding.
Yeah.
Well, quickly, you want to touch on the 36ers?
Oh, yeah, have to. Top of the ladder. Not good enough to be considered flag favourites.
Flag favourites.
That's David Larry, was it?
Yeah.
Derek Rucker that said those stupid comments.
Yeah. Well, look, I like haters anyway. So it doesn't really matter. Look, they've won 2 out of the 3, is it? 2 out of the 3 or 4. They've beaten us every time we play.
Yeah.
Actually, I can't remember what it is.
We've had good excuses for both.
Look, it doesn't matter. This isn't finals. This isn't. And you know what? We beat Towns, who was the championship last year? Illawarra. We beat them the 3 times we played them last year. Did that make us, the grand finalists? No, of course not. So come on, let's get to the finals and then we'll sort
it out. The funny thing is, look, it's the top 2 spots in the NBL that goes straight through the finals.
Yeah.
I bet Sydney Kings land in the play-ins.
Yeah, they will play. They will.
And there's no guarantee that they'll actually make it in.
That's right. So,
but mind you, the teams that are not named Adelaide Sixers are looking very flaky right now. You had Southeast Melbourne drop again last night, the night before, against Tassie, and Tassie are not going well.
No, they're not.
No. And Melbourne United,
after
the media attention that they got, being the best team in the competition.
Oh yeah, winning 9 in a row or whatever it was. Yeah.
So I suppose the one good thing that it does, anytime those NBL pundits have opened their mouth, it's been a kiss of death.
Yeah, it has.
So And there's so much growth.
Yeah.
Before we close up on the basketball, so much growth in the
Yeah.
36ers still, because they have not got old mate Troy, what do you call it?
Smith.
Yeah, firing.
Yeah.
Once they get him up and going,
Yeah.
that team will be unstoppable.
Yeah. Look, and Cotton has to be MVP. There's no doubt about that. He's got to be the MVP. There's no one even close to him, to be honest with you.
And before you move on and close us out with the joke, you have to say something good about Adelaide United, since you're wearing a shirt.
They've played well. They've been probably, I guess, I won't say lucky, but they've worked hard. But it is what we thought it was. It's a roller coaster. It's up and down. There's a lot of youth in that side, and you do get that when you have a lot of youth in that side. But the guys, the guys who have been around a while are actually playing well. Craig Goodwin's leading the way. So yeah, they've been really good. But the expectation is we might just get in there, and it wouldn't surprise me if we missed the finals. So
look, this is the beauty about Adelaide United and a young side.
Yeah,
is you can potentially have missed finals. But you finish sixth. I could say potentially they can win it because youth is fearless.
That's right.
They'll go in and they won't give us stuff. An older side that squeezes in sixth, they know. They're on the cusp of being eliminated. But youth go. We can do this.
And with that splash of experience, Look, I won't say they're a dangerous team, but they could shock you on their day.
Yeah.
And, look, they're beating the teams around them, which is probably what they should be doing. But the teams, they seem to struggle against teams who are well above them. So.
And they seem to play well at home. They just stuffed. That's Western Sydney beaten twice there. And they stuffed Sydney in the first game. So just address that away for them, and who knows.
And that's what we thought. Going into the year, we did a podcast, and I think we mentioned that at home we think they'll be okay, but it'll be away. And that'll be
that's young teams.
And you got to steal away wins. If you can steal some away wins or draws, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's wrap it up for 2025. My wife said she was leaving me because of my Star Wars obsession. I said, may divorce be with you.
What a bang to finish 2025. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.